Hi there, welcome to JB's Track Tips. Today we're going to talk about apexes. Now, apex is not a club, it's a part of a corner on a racetrack that you need to find to make your driving better and to make your lap times better. And that's why everyone goes to racetracks, to make their lap times better. So we're going to use a whiteboard. I've got a little spot here that's an apex point. Most of these track days, the guys that run them, whether they be at Sandown or Eastern Creek or Winton or wherever, they usually put a witch's hat where the apex is, so that's why it's there. So you need to try and aim for that. And in most cases, people that are not massively experienced track people usually apex a bit early. So what I need you to do is think in your brain to make the apex where the witch's hat is, and it's a little later than you think. So you need to just delay the turn in, and the turn in needs to be very gentle and very smooth. So one of my idols was Sir Jackie Stewart, and he used to absolutely preach smoothness, both steering and throttle, and I tend to agree with him. So you get your braking here. We'll cover braking a little later. You make your gear changes and you gently turn in with your eyes towards the apex. And as soon as you can pick up that trajectory, which you do, your eyes will do it, your brain will do it, then you lift your eyes some more and look for the exit, which is over here, see it somewhere? So nice and smooth into the apex. When you can see the apex, you can start moving the throttle, and the throttle trace is like this, not like this. Although if you've got a little tiny car that's got a 1 litre engine, you can probably do this. But generally, you start with it low throttle and progress it nice and smoothly. And that way, you'll get some better lap times. Now, obviously, practice makes perfect. You need to do these things as often as you can, and you'll become a far better driver and a faster driver. A lot of current cars now are all-wheel drive, like Audis, Subarus. The Mitsubishi Evo is quite a popular track car because it's good at it. And there is a certain technique for all-wheel drive cars. It's their strength is their exit speed. Their strength is that the front is driving the car out of the corner as well as the rear wheels. So with a all-wheel drive, you need to be very smooth with your throttle input, but you can get to full throttle earlier, which means you get this slingshot out of the corners. They're quite impressive once you get it right, but if you get on the throttle too early and too steeply, say like this one, it just drives the car into understeer, which means understeer is when the front loses its grip and you end up out here rather than over here. So use the strength of the car. The all-wheel drive cars have got fantastic exit speed, exit traction, because they divide the traction between the four wheels. Very similar in a sense to a Porsche 911, which has got a very much rearward biased weight distribution, and you need to have smooth throttle but get the car settled before you push the throttle hard, because if you arrive at a corner in a 911 and the back of the car's up, odds on you're going to disappear off the road backwards. So it's a slightly different technique, but the smoothness of the throttle and the smoothness of the steering is still the same. Smoothness is best. Okay, so if you apex too early, which a lot of people tend to do when they aren't massively experienced, you end up in here too early, which means you can't make the throttle work the way you want it to, so you can't get on the throttle, and if you do, you end up running once again out of road too early. So this is turn 1 at Sandown, say. It's smoother than turn 1 at Sandown. It's got a lot of bumps at Sandown. And it's got a lot of runoff out here, so you can end up out over the curb in the gravel trap, whatever. So try and yeah, it's more of a mindset thing. You don't rush the apex. If you rush the apex, that's sort of turning too early. So generally, and I've seen it 100,000 times, the guys run the shows that will put apex cones there, and that's a really good guide. So you're aiming for the cone. Don't hit the curbs. Road cars are not made to go over curbs. Race cars, they make special shock absorbers for them, and they're very intricate things. But a road car or a modified road car, if you hit a curb, it upsets it, and so you're then fighting it, and you know you've given your lap away. So just nice and smooth. Turn in. It's only a fraction later than your brain tells you. So it's basically a brain training exercise. Now, one thing that you may come across with track day is there may not be an apex cone. Mostly there are, but if there isn't, so we haven't got one here, how do you pick the apex? That's a $64,000 question. I would say that you work on the smoothness of it, and if you apex too early, you do not get the exit right. You either run out of road too early, or you can't put your throttle on. You'll know if you apex too early. So there's no hard and fast thing that if they leave the cone off, and or you've got a corner on some track somewhere that there's no apex cone, you just got to have to make your own judgment on it. But smoothness will always help you. If you're fighting the steering wheel all the time and your throttle's going up and down, and no good. It's not going to be good. And it's going to possibly end in tears. But we're trying to make everybody enjoy their cars and be able to utilise them properly. Thanks for watching JB's Track Tips. Enjoy your track days.